You're doing great building prompts, so now it's time to build a reusable prompt library. Now that you're learning to build prompts, we want to make sure that you can store and reuse the prompts in an efficient way. If you want to save serious time, you need repeatable prompts. That's why this short lesson is all about building your own prompt library and quickly getting into the prompts you need. After this lesson, you'll be able to understand the value of saving and refining prompts over time. You'll be able to create a simple prompt library using tools you already have, like Google Docs, a project management platform, or a spreadsheet. You'll learn to organize prompts by business function like sales, marketing, and admin, and you'll be able to adapt the same prompt across different AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, and you'll know when it's time to switch. The result will be starting a living system that grows as your business and tools evolve. So why do you need a prompt library? Think of a prompt like a recipe. Recipes don't start out perfect. They are updated and tested until you get the best results. Maybe one version was too salty. The next time you added some lemon or cut the garlic or swapped the cooking method altogether. Well, creating a great prompt works a lot the same way. You'll want to add or remove ingredients, adjust the flavor, or fine-tune the result depending on what you're making and who it's for. That's why your best prompts shouldn't live inside one tool. They should live in your own library where you can test, reuse, and improve them over time. Now, your prompt library doesn't have to be fancy. It's basically a collection of your prompts, so you can use whatever you already have, like Google Docs or Notion or a spreadsheet. What matters is that it's searchable and editable. As you build your prompt library, each stored prompt should include the prompt title, which should be short but descriptive, the full prompt itself, which is the exact instructions you typed into the AI chat, also the purpose and the outcome, what is the task that it was designed to solve, also the tools used, whether it was ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, etc. Now keep in mind, you may use this prompt across multiple platforms, but it's good to know which one you first started with and which one it worked with the first time. Then also some notes, what worked well, what didn't, any next tweaks, any changes that need to be made. Remember, this is a working live document, so you want to have it there so you can look back and see what needs to be changed. Plus, if your team members are sharing this document, they can see what was left off and what they may want to add to improve the prompt. So here's a version of what it may look like if you use a spreadsheet. In a spreadsheet, as mentioned, you have your prompt title, which is short but descriptive. You have your full prompt, and that will get longer and longer. So expect that section and that part of the spreadsheet to get longer. What is the purpose of the outcome? What was the original platform you used? And then notes. What do you need to tweak, change, improve, what worked, what didn't? So another way you can do it is just put it simply on a document, whether it be a Google Doc or a Word doc. You can put one prompt per document. And then as you gather your library of documents, put those into folders based on their purposes and what they are doing. So you have a folder with sales prompts, a folder with creative prompts, a folder with contract review prompts, so that you have an organization and you can quickly jump into those folders and not have to recreate prompts from the start. You know that you already have prompts designed for that purpose. You may also use a project management system. Like for example, we use ClickUp, used to use Trello, and you can create cards in your project management system, one card per prompt, and keep those organized that way. Now, you may ask yourself, when to consider changing from ChatGPT or to Gemini or to Claude? Well, here's one thing you have to remember. AI companies will always compete to be the best. So don't change based on a rumor or a trend, because the moment that you hear about another platform is better and you start working on changing, next thing you know, a week or two later, the one you're already used to has caught up or maybe even has become the better one. Secondly, understand your primary needs. Maybe you use it mostly for creating written content. Maybe you're creating apps, so coding is important. Maybe you do images or create video. Some platforms may take an unquestionable lead over time in that particular kind of content. So for example, right now when I'm recording this, we use Midjourney for images and for video. We use Sora for video. We use Veo for video, even some stuff from OpenAI's platforms. But those have changed by the week or by the month as to who is the best. So we decide to go, and I advise you to go deep on the one that you know works, and don't move too fast until you wait to see who takes the lead long enough for it to be significant enough for you to change paths. And so also you want to stay where your prompts are well tested and where you have memory. So for example, I showed you earlier in the earlier course, the other earlier lesson, that we have such deep memory in our OpenAI Chat GPT instance that memory serves us better than starting new in another platform. That isn't to say that at some point maybe another platform takes over and is the best, but basically the one that you have the most invested in is probably going to be the best for you at that time. So it may know your history, your business, your brand. If those things live in a platform, be very slow to change or restart with another platform. Now, I want to go back a moment and talk a bit more about organization, because once you have a few saved prompts, you do want to group them by business function to make them easier to find, whether it be in a folder or a category. So here's a simple way to get started. If you have, for example, a sales folder, you may want to put in there prompts for your outreach emails, your quote follow-ups, your proposal intros. And for marketing, you may have prompts for blog topics, email copy, ad headlines. For administration, you may have a folder for SOPs or standard operating procedures, onboarding messages, internal updates. You save your prompts in that folder. Another idea may be a folder for client delivery, recaps, project updates, kickoff documents, onboarding documents, and strategic briefs. As your library grows, these categories will help you pull up the right prompt in seconds. Another reason to keep your prompts in a library separate from the AI tool is to give you an easy opportunity to test your prompts across different AI tools. Just because you wrote it in ChatGPT, for example, doesn't mean it won't shine in Claude or Gemini. Depending on the task, the other platforms may perform better. The prompt is yours, so use it where it performs best, and if one tool starts to fall short, then it's time to try another one with the same instructions. If you only remember one thing from this lesson, make it this: the more context you give a prompt, the better the result, period. A strong prompt usually starts by telling the AI, first, what role it's playing. For example, you are an expert email marketer. Next, what is the goal? For example, you're helping write a client follow-up that builds trust and leads to a demo. And thirdly, what is the context? The context matters. For example, include the customer's pain point, the product they asked about, and do it in a friendly tone. Side note, when making customer information, I like to tell the prompt whether this is a current customer or a prospective customer. That context makes a difference. Then after you see the result, improve it. Did I miss a detail? Was the tone off? Add that to the prompt next time. Prompting is an ongoing loop, not a one-time task. Always keep improving your prompts. AI will continue to improve, but prompting still matters. It's important to note that each generative AI tool is being developed on its own timeline, and the models behind them are constantly evolving. These models are getting much better at reasoning, understanding nuance, following multi-step instructions, and making smart decisions based on context. That means prompts that used to require lots of hand-holding may now work with a lot less effort. Still, keeping your prompts clear and updated gives you the best shot at getting high-quality results as the tools continue to improve. And even as the tools get smarter, your job is still to guide them. You want to keep your prompts outside of your AI tool so you can reuse them anywhere, even in other tools. Organize your prompts by tasks such as sales, marketing, admin, and delivery. You can use the same prompt across different tools. Just compare the results and choose the best fit. You learn that more context equals a better output, so improve your prompts over time. And as AI evolves, some of the heavy lifting will go away, but the systems you build now will still give you the edge. Here's your call to action. Start now. Take 5 tasks you do each week and write down the best prompt you've used or want to use for each. For example, writing a follow-up email, brainstorming blog ideas, outlining a proposal, summarizing a meeting, or drafting a social caption. Start saving the drafts of these prompts in your prompt library and improve them as you go. These will become the building blocks of your AI-powered workflow.